Also, one quick thing, when you go to the Final Four, you can lose 20 games, it doesn't matter. Those are just numbers that you put in the paper that don't mean anything. Mike Waters wrote a pretty reasonable article that you should read because he explained what's happened. Now, I don't agree with everything, Mike, but you made some good points. But when you go to the Final Four, last year was the 5th best year I've ever had here. Ever. 40 years, the 5th best year that I've had here. If you just count wins, that means nothing.
All that was stated is you lost some games.
All that was stated.
You played under 500
No, here's what was stated. Here's what was stated.
What was stated?
Bad 3 years. Anybody that read that said that. Because I never read the blogs. I did because I wanted to see what people, and everybody said the same thing. You're putting numbers up and saying it's a bad 3 years because we didn't, this is what you did.
These are numbers.
They're numbers that don't mean, they don't mean. Last year, we lost 14 games. One of the 5 best years we've ever had since I've been coaching here. Because all that matters, and you know this, is what you do in the NCAA tournament. That's all that matters. Just ask Pittsburgh or Virginia, who won 30 games last year, if they would have our year. What I'm saying is, last year was a great year. The year before that, we weren't eligible for the tournament. So how many losses doesn't really matter. And I believe if we'd have been eligible, we would have won a game or two, and we would have gotten the tournament because we'd beaten Notre Dame and Louisville, just like we got in the tournament last year. Because, why? Because we beat Texas A&M and Connecticut. So I believe we would have gotten in both years. And this year certainly could be a bad year, but it isn't over yet. But when you just put numbers up, sometimes numbers are right. In other words, if we didn't get in the tournament last year, then you'd be right. You'd be 100% right, and I hate to say that. But you would be right in that we've had 2 years where we didn't win games and we didn't get in the tournament, but I believe we would have been in both years if we hadn't taken ourselves out, because I think we would have won another game. And last year was one of the, well, to me, it's the best year we've ever had, I think, except for the championship, because that team, and I don't want to ever have anybody suggest that we were lucky. We were lucky last year. Dayton won the Atlantic 10. We crushed them. Michigan State's really good, and Middle Tennessee crushed them the whole game. And we crushed them. Gonzaga, Seton Hall beat Villanova in the Big East championship game. Villanova happened to win the national championship last year. Gonzaga beat them by 30. And we beat them. Virginia had beaten us every time we played, that I can remember anyway. And we were down 16 points. They have never lost a game when they've had a 16-point lead. And we won that game. That's not luck. There's nothing lucky about any of that. Nothing. That's being good.
I call that lucky?
I didn't say you did. I've seen it. If I said you, I'd say you. I'd say you. I'm suggesting that you took a numbers game, and the numbers don't apply anymore.
Let me ask you a question.
Any question? Bud, I would say you couldn't ask a question. You don't have to ask that.
So you're saying, and this is, sorry, everybody, this is
No, this is fine. This is a press conference. You can say whatever you want.
So the last 3 years.
I like it when you come because usually you don't come, so I don't have anybody to talk to.
The last 3 years.
Writing about some track runner or something. I don't know.
The last 3 years.
Counting this year?
Yeah.
Let's take 4 years.
3 calendar years.
Let's take 4 years.
Let's take it from Ennis's shot. When you were
Well, let's take 4 years.
All right, well,
2 Final Fours.
Let's take 42 years.
No, well, that's good, but let's take 4 years. 2 Final Fours. Who else has gone to 2 Final Fours in 4 years?
I don't know. If you're
Yes, you do. It's in your paper. Read your paper. Only 4 teams.
The last 3 calendar years.
This year you counting?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
calendar years from March or February, whatever, to January.
So you
One
don't want me
shot.
to count the 19 straight we won before?
No.
Okay.
Listen, I cited the 5 years before as being the golden years.
No, we
And I
actually
got-
had some better years, and we also have had 2-year periods that have been worse than the last
I
2.
know, here's the
Right,
question.
Mike?
I
guess.
Oh, you don't know? You don't know?
I faded out about.
This is entertainment. People pay to watch this. You understand that? Do you understand that? People actually subscribe so they can watch this, and I get critiqued on my performance here. And this is a good one because I'm happy for a change, and next one I might not be happy. So, yes, Bud, your question.
The last 3 years versus the 5 before that, you're saying that these last 3 years are better than the 5 preceding it?
I did not say that. I said last year was one of the 5 best years we've ever had. All right?
So that's better than when you were at, what, 34-3 or whatever?
If we didn't go to the Final Four, yes. The only thing that matters in college basketball is going to the Final Four.
If that's the barometer, I stand
If we can lose 12 games every year and go to the Final Four every year, I'll take it. I'd rather do that than win 30 and not go to the Final Four. Final Four is what we play for. That's what we're trying to do. That's what's important. And, you know, we've had some great teams, regular season teams, that didn't get there for whatever reason. A couple times injuries, a couple times we got upset. And those are disappointments. But what the only point I'm trying to make is we had a great year last year, so you can't string together that we've had 3 calendar years or 2.5 calendar years, and it's wrong. I think it's wrong because it doesn't indicate what happened. We went to the Final Four. That negates all the losses that year. The year before, we couldn't get into the tournament because we took ourselves out. And this year is still a long way to go. And nobody knows what's going to happen this year. I certainly don't. And we've got a tremendous amount of work to do. I'm sure not too many people picked us to win today. I would seriously doubt it after losing 5 straight games, but to them. But you know, that's the only point. I'm not upset. It's just a point I'm making, and I do think that Mike hit on some really good points and what his article was. I hate to say that too. You know that.
I said it twice.
Twice.
I still can't believe you compliment.
Twice.
Flipping the
I'm not up here to compliment. You know,
no.
you're not up down there to write complimentary things about me either. You write what you write, and I say what I say.